How's it going, Man's League? Coming at you for the third time in as many weeks with this week's recap and high score video. Going right into the scoreboard. I managed to pull off high score for the third time this week. I know Zach has done it one other time with 3 consecutive high scores. Next week, I'm hoping to set the record by making it 4. I was playing MA and Jordan. None of the matches were overly competitive this week. All the matches, I think, were decided by about 30 points. I managed to beat them 166.9 to 138 thanks to MVP Cam Newton. 42.8 points. He had a ridiculous week. 28 of 41 for 331 yards, 5 touchdowns, on top of 10 rushes for 49 yards for a total of 42.8. Jordan and MA did get honorable mention this week thanks to Antonio Brown having a sick week. 8 receptions, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns for 38.7. Combined going into the Sunday night game, I was actually feeling pretty good. I was up by about 80, and I told my wife, I'm like, as long as they don't put up 80 points combined between them, I'm okay. Thankfully, DeAngelo Williams kind of bailed me out with his 20 points, but between Big Ben and Antonio Brown, MA and Jordan got almost 80 points out of the 2 players, so I was lucky to pull off the win there. I moved to 7-6, and I'm in 3rd overall seed for playoffs, while MA and Jordan fall to 5-8. Tough loss. They put up enough points to beat almost every other team this week. They are out of playoffs and actually end up last this year. Going into our second matchup of the week, Joe versus John. King of the North versus Return of the Duggernauts as I call them. Joe pulls off a convincing win with 166.4 to 121.1, thanks to Tom Brady having a pretty sick game. That was a crazy, almost comeback they had. Joe's 166.4 is only half a point behind my 166.9. So, Joe, you were super, super close. Kind of like in Week 7 when I beat you by 7/10 of a point in that match, if you recall. You're close. Maybe next year. You do make playoffs, though. You sneak into that last spot with a 6-7 record, the 7th overall seed. And John is eliminated despite having a lot of points against. He's had a couple of rough years in a row. That's not necessarily his fault. So John is out. Moving on to our third matchup. This is my year, Mark versus the Rocketeer, Zach. Mark destroys Zach, not even close, 31 points plus, thanks to Allen Robinson, who had 10 receptions for 153 yards and 3 touchdowns, which is good enough for Player of the Week. Looks like Mark gets the first round bye, whereas Zach will fall to 6-7, and he plays me next week, actually, in the playoffs. Mark with the best record of the year at 9-4. Our fourth matchup of the week, the Immortals, Tyler, needing a win to get in, facing off against Luck Angels, Cody. Cody takes the win, 35-point differential there. Top scores from each matchup with the quarterbacks. 28.2 Aaron Rodgers for Tyler, and 25.1 Andy Dalton for Cody. Tyler, your team apparently really sucked this year. You have lowest points for, and you are lucky you did not get last. You fall to 6-7, and you miss playoffs this year, whereas Cody goes to 8-5, but due to Mark winning, is not able to get the bye. He will face off with Joe next week in the first round as well. And our final matchup, which will actually be, this matchup will happen again next week, Leo's Army, Leo, versus the law firm, Caleb. Caleb puts up low score for the week, gets absolutely destroyed by Leo's Army. It wasn't close. AJ Green for Leo comes through big, 22.3 points, whereas Caleb's team, with the exception of maybe Jameis Winston, just doesn't even show up. You're going to have a much better showing next week if you want to even have a chance against Leo. Leo, you had a really good year, man. You have high score. You have a shit ton of points against. I am glad I'm not facing you in the first round. Just a little review of the playoff matchups for anyone who hasn't looked for some reason. Week 1 is going to be me versus Zach, the 6 versus the 3. Leo versus Caleb in a rematch, the 5 versus the 4. Cody versus Joe, the 2 versus the 7, and Mark had to bye with John, Tyler, and MA and Jordan falling out of the playoff picture. Good luck, gentlemen, and I hope to be shooting another video next week.